Vivaldi, written by Janice, Shefelman, and illustrated by Tom Shefelman. Venice, 1678. On the day that I, Antonio Lucio Vivaldi, was born, there was an earthquake. My mama heard a rumble from under the ground. Church bells were ringing all over town. My papa ran up the stairs. "Camelia, we have to get out of the house." "But Giovanni," Mama cried, "the baby is coming. You must go for the midwife." Papa hurried out and fetched Madama Margherita. By then the earth had stopped shaking, but no one knew when it might start again. Before long I arrived, gasping for breath. "Alas, I am afraid he has trouble breathing," said the midwife. "We must baptize him immediately." Madama Margherita summoned my papa. Then she recited the holy words and dribbled water over my head. "Dear Mary, Mother of God," said Mama, "if my firstborn child is spared, I swear, sure as the tide comes in and goes out, he will become a priest." I took a breath and let out a loud cry. "Bravo," said Papa. "My son is a fighter." So I survived. But Mama's vow would cause much trouble. Every day I awoke to the sound of the church bells ringing outside my window, and soon afterward to the singing of Papa's violin. One morning I crept downstairs to his studio. He was so busy playing his violin that he did not notice me. I watched him and pretended to play my own violin. "Papa, look." "Ah, Antonio, my little musician. Shall we play a duet?" When I was 4, Papa bought a small violin for me. Mama did not like the idea. "He is not going to be a musician, so he does not need a violin. Camelia, this violin gives Antonio something to do, since he can't run and play with other boys." That was true. Running made my chest feel tight. Mama sighed and left the room. "So we shall begin your lessons." Papa took up his violin. "First we tune." He pulled his bow across a string. "That is the note we call A. Now you try it." I raised my bow. "You must draw the bow lightly across the strings, Antonio, as if your hand were held by invisible wings." I drew my bow across the A string. Papa turned the A peg until we sounded alike. When my violin was tuned, we played together, 2 strokes on each string. It was like breathing in and out, only easier. "You learn quickly, my son." From then on, Papa gave me lessons twice a week, and I practiced every day. The neighborhood boys often played in the courtyard. Once I tried to join them, but my chest felt tight when I chased after the ball. Mama called me back inside. "How many times must I tell you, Antonio? God never meant you to run." She smiled and held my face in her hands. "You barely survived your first day. That's why I vowed you would become a priest. God meant me to be a violinist, Mama, not a priest." Mama made the sign of the cross. "Forgive him, God. He does not know what he is saying." I knew exactly what I was saying, but Mama did not want to hear it. So I stomped upstairs and played a fast piece that expressed the anger in my heart. One morning, as Papa was leaving for rehearsal, he said, "Antonio, get your violin and come with me." "Giovanni, no," Mama said. "My dear Antonio is 7 years old. He needs to see what I do." "He can see without his violin." Papa took her hand and kissed it. "Please, Camelia, allow me a little fatherly pride." I picked up my violin and followed him out the door. We boarded a gondola for the Piazza San Marco. Everywhere there was music. People played instruments and sang at their windows, on the bridges, and on boats. My heart sang too. As we walked across the piazza, I stared at the church of San Marco. My eyes could not get enough of the murals made of millions of colorful stones, or the golden horses standing high above the entrance. While Papa rehearsed, I tapped my foot to the music, hoping he would ask me to play. At last, Papa spoke to the conductor. "Maestro, what would you think of letting my Antonio join us for the next one?" "Yes, of course," he said. "Come, my boy." I took out my violin and stood beside Papa. The maestro raised his hands, and we were off. My fingers galloped about on the strings. I forgot everything but the music. When we finished, the maestro turned to my Papa. "Giovanni,